So now that I've gotten my token sword video out of the way, it's time to start looking at some meta decks. So today we're gonna be playing some NAM Blood or NAM Blood or Machina Natura Blood, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's the deck built around Natural Machinas, which is the I guess the main card of this set that's like super broken, and like it sets the decks that can use it and the decks that can't use it apart. Yeah, a pretty strong deck, of course, being the meta deck, but honestly it feels more like going first is just strong in this meta compared to the deck itself. But yeah, let's look at the decks we're playing for today first. So this is the list we'll be playing for today. I just modified it off the tournament winning list. The main star of the deck is Natural Machinas. Of course, mainly the effect will draw you a new hand with discounted. Then you can use that to finish off the game, and in order to finish off the game you have some supporting leader effects. So first you have Mecha Shot Devil, whose leader effect will summon a assembly droid at the end of your opponent's turn. And then because it's summoned at the end of your opponent's turn, you can attack phase right away, or you can use it to trade as well if that's what you want. And you can use this to get Machina count up, mainly is what it's for. You have Ravening Corruption, which is a very strong damage source. Every time a card is added to your hand from your deck, you deal 1 damage to a random enemy. And chip a lot of face damage with this in combination with Natural Machinas' Fanfare. I think our main finisher is going to be Mono. You have at least 7 Machina followers destroyed this match, put Alpha Drive into your hand. And then at the beginning of her turn, deal 1 damage to your leader and this follower. And then her evolve effect is Storm and Ward. You evolve her using Alpha Drive, which is a 5-cost spell that evolves allied Machina followers. Note that she doesn't give Storm to your other followers, unlike more modern versions of her, so she's only Storm by herself, so not as big damage as like modern Mono, but still pretty strong. And yeah, other than that, you just spend your early game trying to draw into your key leader effect pieces, increase your hand size so that you can play a big Natural Machinas. So yeah, that's it for the deck list. Let's look at some games. So our first game here is the Mirror, and we are going first here. If you want advice on how to play the Mirror, the most reliable way to win the Mirror is to go first, and that is not a joke, that is just how this game is. In this case, our hand is pretty strong. For the mulligan, usually I like to find Mecha Shot Devil and Ravening Corruption. I think Mecha Shot Devil is generally slightly more important than Ravening Corruption, though both are pretty strong. Unleash the and then you want to find card draw, like Unleash the Nightmare and the Confectioneer are the best card increasing, hand size increasing cards. And if you're going first, you can pick stuff. You can pick cheap followers that can also cycle, like the not this. I mean, this gives you a card back. So, but you can look for the hoverboard if you're going first. If you're going second, maybe Change Ring is better for keeping out of the early game board. Yeah, early game you just spend it drawing your cards. Unfortunately, we don't pick up any Machina followers off the Unleash the Nightmare. As you can see here, you generally do want to summon Assembly Droid since Mono requires the count. Early game you just spend your time drawing cards and like summoning Machina followers. In this case, we hit phase cause the pressure on my opponent to trade here right now, because we can play Natural Machinas first, assuming we draw it, of course. We still don't have it quite yet. And of course my opponent will trade here, which is good for me. So we go for Mecha Shot Devil first. Unfortunately, we are a bit slow on the Machina follower count, so evolving Mecha Shot Devil will help us get there faster. And then we can just go ahead and crystallize a Night Prowl Vampire. Whenever I don't play Mecha Wing Angel here, we need to save hand size for a strong Natural Machinas, so we just go ahead and play the Vampire here and just try to find our Natural Machinas instead and try to maintain our hand size. Pick out Change Ring, unfortunately that's not what we want. We can go ahead and drop the Ravening Corruption here. And then we can play the Confectioneer to hopefully draw, and we do pick up the Natural Machinas here. You can just go ahead and poke my opponent in the face here. Again, the pressure should be on my opponent to trade at this point. My opponent drops the Metal Blade Demon, so it looks like they don't have the what's his face? The Mecha Shot Devil, which is good for us. And they will just pass here, which is completely fine. We can go ahead and just fuse this whole hand. We don't really need any of these. You consider keeping Noin, as honestly, he does help against the mirror because he gives you a lot of wards. Our Mechana follower is a bit slow though, so we're not super sure Noin can help us there. You can see this is a very strong hand with 3 discounted monos. You can go ahead and just play the hoverboard to draw into our deck, put a Mechana on the board for my opponent to destroy, as well as just draw a card to ping them once. My opponent will drop the Nature Machinus here, which is to be expected. And we take a bunch of damage here. My opponent does have Sanguine Core. Normally we will actually be in a very bad position here, because they managed to heal up. Although we can heal here, we do have Noin as well, which is not too bad. But normally we are considered a bit behind here, but since we have 3 monos, we can just kill our opponent here instead. So we can drop 3 monos here for a nice 21 damage OTK. Obviously a bit of a high roll, but I mean the mirror is not that interesting to watch because whoever goes first will generally win unless someone breaks. So yeah, that's it for this game. Next match here is against the Dragon. As with all Nature Machinus decks, going first is heavily favored, so we do manage to go first, which is good. You can see I'm not very happy with this format right now. Everything feels like going first is heavily favored. Unless the opponent's deck is really bad, then you are just favored by virtue of existence. Once again, we look for cards that can increase our hand size, as well as try to pick up Mega Shot Devil and Revenant Corruption early on. My opponent drops their Respite, which is fine. Go ahead and drop the Confectioner here to draw our Natura cards. Pick up Revenant Corruption as well, so that's pretty good. And then my opponent will drop the Pteranodon here, I guess, to just ramp, which is fine with us. Well, it's not like fine, but not like I can stop them. Go ahead and accelerate the Mecha Wing here, and then we just hit them in the face. We want to deny them the tree in case they have a second Pteranodon. If they have a second Pteranodon, they can trade, play Pteranodon, and then next turn they can just drop the Nature Machinus, which is not what we want. In order to deny that, we just go ahead and sort of lock this thing onto the board so they don't have a tree this turn. My opponent will drop the Valdane, which is fine for them. Just go ahead and evolve Mecha Shot here, try to get our Mechana count going. And now we do accelerate the Mecha Wing. Maybe a bit of a questionable decision to accelerate there, but you can see our Mechana count is not super fast, so accelerating the Mecha Wing just helps a bit. We'll play Shadow's Corrosion, doesn't do much damage though, so we're fine there. Got another Mecha Wing, which is kind of gross. Just go ahead and evolve the Ravening Corruption here. Then we can just poke my opponent in the face with these droids they've left on board. We don't really have to worry about board lock right now because, yeah, they're probably just gonna play Nature Machinus this turn, which is what we expected. They will draw a full new hand, pick out a Dragonic Core for them as well, Steel Storm Dragon you as well. And they will evolve it to evolve their Nature Machinus as well, and they do refund play points off the Dragonic Core's effect, which is quite strong. They will drop the Changewing Cherub as well, they're my followers. And the Pteranodon, I guess, just to destroy a tree here. And Velociraptor will give them more trees. And then we take a little bit of damage here. And it's pretty not super full, which is not what we want, but we sort of just have to go for Nature Machinus here and just hope we draw a good card deck. Normally I prefer to keep mono and not fuse her, but in this case we needed to use the Fanfare to pop their Nature Machinus, so I thought it's better to prioritize clearing that board over saving the mono here. Just go ahead and do that. I just hope that 2 monos is enough. This deck doesn't have much healing anyway, so 2 mono should hopefully be enough to just answer them. There's the Changewing Cherub here. They will heal off of that, which is mildly annoying. And they evolve their Changewing Cherub to get 3 probably. Yep. They will pick up the Feral Aether as well. And there's the Wildfire Tyrannosaur to clear my Nature Machinus, which is mildly annoying, I guess. We are definitely very low here. We're probably gonna die next turn if we don't heal, so we need to keep a Sanguine Core, and we keep a 9 as well for an evolve to activate the Sanguine Core. And then we can just go ahead and toss the rest and try to find our finishers. We do pick out a mono here, which is good enough, I guess. Another Nature Elm Machinist is not too bad either. You can go ahead and use this Blood Core to set out a big board while healing up. And then if my opponent managed to answer this board, we can try to finish that with mono. Otherwise, my opponent shouldn't be able to clear this board super well since Dragon doesn't have very good board clears. Viridian Magna is about the only thing that could probably clear this board decently well. And if they don't heal, they're still easily within lethal range. We can even use Machina. We can even use the Nature Elm Machinist to draw into the deck, ping more followers, and maybe their face, as well as just clear their wards if they have any. So yeah, we're in a pretty good position from here. My opponent just, unfortunately for them, I guess, doesn't manage to clear this board very well at all. So yeah, they will just pass here and that'll be the end of this game. So you can see Noin doing some very strong things even if you don't have a finisher. So let's move on to the next game. For our last game here, we're going second against Shadow. Shadow is not a tier 1 deck and it's not, well, it can be an NAM deck, but spoilers, this one isn't. So generally I think we are fine even if we're going second here. Even though obviously we prefer to go first. And we go here a Changewing Cherub in case they have early aggression. Some of the Shadow decks do have it, so just hold on to Changewing Cherub in case my opponent drops Legendary Skeleton, which Changewing Cherub cannot answer. So we go ahead and accelerate the Mecha Wing because Mecha Wing can just trade into the Skeleton. I think my opponent trades for me here for some reason, which is nice. And then we can just go ahead and play the Confectioner to draw into our deck. And we just pick them face. My opponent drops the second Phantasmal Core, which is already very scary because this means that Hades is probably active on turn 6, which is not what we want. We go ahead and evolve the Mecha Shot Devil here and just poke them in the face. We don't have to worry about board lock since they are gonna clear my board for me with Hades anyway. They do have the Jack Shovel as well, which will unfortunately be able to clear the Mecha Shot. I think this is probably like one of the few followers they have that can like clear Mecha Shot while like having good shadow value. My opponent unfortunately here has Mino as well, so they are already at 30 shadows basically, so I'm in trouble in that regard. We involve the Ravening Corruption to get the effect active, and then just play the Hoverboard to draw into the deck more and I guess ping a bit. We do clear the Mino here. They can just accelerate Hades here and I'm dead, but they also invoke Gramarye because, well, they have enough shadows for it. There's the Shuten Doji as well, which they will get active here. And then they just go ahead and accelerate their Hades, which will summon the PTP, which is gonna start dealing 6 damage to my face every turn. Which is very unfortunate for me. And we pick out another mono, which is not great. You generally don't want your hand to be full of monos, like ever. So my only way of winning here really is to use Slate to chip them down and then finish them with mono next turn. I definitely won't survive long enough for Nature Elm Machinist to do anything for me. There is a consideration for saving my Evo point, trying to get a heal with Sanguine Core later on, but I think hitting Slain Face there was better. And you can see it pays off because we can just finish them with mono here, so that's it for this game as well. So those are all the games I have for you today. Hopefully it gave you some idea of how this deck functions and how to play it. It's not like the most riveting gameplay. I think it's pretty straightforward how this deck works. You just get your leader effects, play Nam and blow your opponent up, or make a big board with Noin and ruin their life that way. It feels a bit like going first is like very strong in this format, so I'm not super into it, and I'm not super into this deck in general. Honestly, I might even have had more fun playing Levin than this deck, but yeah, if you think this deck looks fun to you, you can go ahead and give it a try anyway. That's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.